This is Reggae Boy Romario Williams. You're watching Eddie Vision. Like, subscribe, and share.
Greetings viewers and subscribers. Welcome back to Eddie Vision TV, the channel where we look at sports differently. Okay, big game coming up. The Reggae Girlz will face off against Brazil, and this will be a ding-dong battle. Another opportunity for the Reggae Girlz to make history. This is going to be arguably Jamaica's biggest football game in history. Yes, you heard it here first. Our biggest game, and potentially these young girls can become heroes. I mean, whatever happens versus Brazil, I think they have done extremely well and should return home to huge fanfare. But we don't want to talk about coming home just yet. As Coach Lorne Donaldson said, we need to fight fire with fire. And for me, I don't think we should sit back like we did against France. Up against the number 8 Brazilian team, they are not as good as France on paper. You know, France defeated them. However, they are still a force to be reckoned with. This Brazilian team has scored 5 goals thus far in Group F and is a dangerous team. We need to be looking out for Ari Borges. She is the top player for Brazil. You know, 3 goals so far, getting a hat-trick versus Panama. She's danger, but she's not alone. We need to look at other players, but I think we need to make sure that, you know, she's quiet. We've played against Brazil in the 2019 World Cup and we were defeated 3-0. That's our first time playing Brazil. So I believe the girls will be looking to get a little bit of revenge come Wednesday. We will be welcoming back our captain Khadija Bunny Shaw versus Brazil, and I think the team should automatically be better. But as I said earlier, I don't want to see a team that defends the entire 90 minutes. We did it against France. You know, we were very fortunate, and I don't think we should test fate once more. Don't think we'll be as fortunate as we were against France, against this Brazilian team, because they will attack, and they will attack in numbers. They will look to overwhelm the Reggae Girlz. They have a must-win game. You know, they have to win to qualify to the next round. We can get a draw. You know, and sometimes in football you tend to be relaxed when you know you can pick up a draw and advance. But we need to play this game as if, you know, we needed a win. Start the game with that mentality, and if things are going right, then we can think about drawing the game in the latter stages. So for me, as it relates to starting 11s, I will be looking at Spencer in goal. Rebecca Spencer, 2 clean sheets thus far. You know, no need to change her. She's been excellent in goal. At right back, Tiffany Cameron played there in the Panama game. Did well, you know, I might add. I'm glad to see her on the pitch. Up against Brazil. On her side, there are a lot of good players coming down her flank. And, you know, defensively, you know, she could be caught out. She is great going forward, great helping out the attack and, you know, making overlapping runs. But at the defensive end, she could be in trouble, so I would not put her under that much pressure. And remember, she's not a right back by trade. You know, it's not her preferred position, so I would not put her there in a game of this magnitude. So I would switch over Tierney Wilshire to the right hand side. Swaby sisters, no doubt, in the middle of the defense. They're having a great tournament, I must say. You know, both sisters, I can't separate them. They have been excellent throughout those two games and major parts of, you know, us keeping those two clean sheets. Then Blackwood, Denisha Blackwood, over there by left back. You know, two defensive midfielders in Sampson, Vian Sampson, and the star baller Drew Spence. Spence is there to control the midfield, you know, make those through passes to our attackers, you know, and control the tempo. On the right hand side, I will switch over and put Trudy Carter. She got an assist for Alice Swaby's goal, a wonderful corner, you know, that led to Swaby's goal. So definitely she has earned her place back in the team. Atlanta Primus at attacking midfield. She can switch with Drew Spence, Jody Brown, the live wire on the left hand side, and of course Khadija Bonishaw up top. Now this formation is really a 4-5-1. You know, in attack, Brown, Carter and Primus can support Khadija Bonishaw, but we'll be doing a lot of defensive work, so they would drop back and help the midfield, forming a 5. So that's my starting 11. The coach, Lorne Donaldson, had some more words to say, and we'll move over to Lorne Donaldson. Also, Peyton McNamara spoke to the media as well.
Press conference between Jamaica and Brazil. I would like to welcome Coach Lorne Donaldson and player number 7, Peyton McNamara.
Thank you. I have questions for Coach and for player McNamara. Coach, describe me please why Khadija is so important for your teams. What he can do for Jamaica to continue to dream, to eliminate Brazil and clinch to the final. And for McNamara, from the point of view of a player that plays together with her, what can add to the game of Jamaica? Thank you very much.
I think I'll go first. I don't know if I need a description right there. She's a big target. You know, she's I would call her lethal weapon. She scores goals, and she's the all-time leading goal scorer in Jamaica. So that men and women, so that, I think that speaks for itself. And she's a very technical, you know, good leader and just a solid footballer. So I think that's just my description of her.
And as a player, obviously she has made a great name for herself. She sets the standard in trainings and in games, and she's just someone that we can all look up to when we're playing with her.
Thank you.
Joe Lynch, question in English for ESPN for both Coach Lorne and Peyton. Just wondering, heading into the final match day, first World Cup win on the board, fate is in your own hands, coming up against a huge women's footballing power in Brazil, South American powerhouses. Just what have the emotions and the sense of occasion been like in the camp in the lead up to this game, and how do you approach it? Do you relish the underdog title? Is David versus Goliath shocking the world? How do you go about getting your heads in the game?
Well, I mean, as you described it, David versus Goliath, I mean, I wish it was that easy. But, you know, Brazil is a powerhouse to say. And I think we relish the challenge. All along, we know we're going to come into the World Cup as being underdogs. From the qualifier, we've been underdogs. So it's nothing new to us, you know, but Brazil is a powerhouse. We have to come out and just try to match them step for step. They're very skillful. And we know they're going to come after us with everything that they have, so we have to be ready.
And this tournament for us has been a list of firsts. I mean, we're creating history, and we're in the process of creating a legacy, and I think that process continues tomorrow when we go up against one of the biggest teams in the world.
Hey Coach, hey Peyton, Elias Lorani from Babel Media in English, of course. I want to ask you, you've had such big success at this World Cup so far. Are you guys doing this in spite of the fact of a federation that doesn't want to really support you financially? We did hear the story about the GoFundMe for raising funds for you guys. Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Well, that's in the past, and we try to, we're a very resilient team, and, stuff that happened with the federation, we're not going to go over that right now because our focus all along has been, okay, let's just stick together as a group. To us, we describe it, this is our foxhole, just like a war, and we're going to just protect the foxhole and move on, and the rest of the stuff will take care of itself when all said and done. So, that's as much as I'm going to touch on that.
Hi, Emily Dozier with the Associated Press. So obviously you guys have had quite a journey over the past few months like you just touched on. But especially these past couple of weeks, you guys have had some historic games. So how has the team grown throughout these past couple of weeks?
Well, from the qualification, I say, we have grown because, during the qualification, in Mexico, we really hasn't had a lot of games after that. But I think the player I use the word again, resilience, and they come into this World Cup, and we always look forward to saying we need to try any way possible to get to the second round. And I think the players are liking Australia; they like it here, so they see some kangaroos. So we want to stay a little bit longer.
Simon Hill, HBS. A question for both Lorne and for Peyton. How has your success so far been received back in Jamaica? And Peyton, you talked about legacy. What would you like to see that legacy be, say, in 10 years' time for women's football in Jamaica?
Well, I think, first of all, being the pioneers kind of for women's football in Jamaica, we have a lot of room to grow still, but us being up there as one of the best teams in the sport would be a great legacy and a great target, I think, for us. I mean, with the way we're going, with the players we have coming in, I think we're on track.
Well, you refer to the first World Cup, and when we started working, I was the assistant coach then, and Coach Hugh Menzies giving big praises. We worked together, and that squad, we weren't planning on going to the World Cup. We were just planning, and Sidela Marley was brave in calling us up and having us help out because the football in Jamaica was null and void, and she put it together, and somewhere miraculously we put something together, and we got to the World Cup, and it was like, oh, it happened, okay. And from that, praises to Coach Hugh Menzies, we think we could take this further. So the legacy started there, but I think we have long ways to go in terms of what countries like Brazil and these countries have produced. We're far off when it comes to, in terms of women's football and the rest of the world, but we're trying to grow.
As far as tactics go, I would love to tell you how we're going to get a result tomorrow, but I think I'm going to keep that to ourselves. We just got to play our game, play how we play, and make it hard for Brazil to beat us.
Hi, Steph John from The Athletic. Sorry for asking you to repeat yourself. I won't ask you to blow up your spot with tactics, but against France, we saw Brazil with the high pressure that France offered. Their coach talked about how that was deliberate to stop them from one of their most powerful assets, which is their build-up play, and making them not quite so compact in the defense. I'm just wondering, watching that game, if you saw things as well where you're like, this is something that we can target, or if with your players and your personnel, you're just going to have to bring your own style to this game.
Well, in terms of France, what France did to Brazil, I'm sure Brazil will make the adjustment. So it's a cat and mouse game, as we always call it, and there's going to be adjustment. Obviously, we will try to, mimic some stuff, but we're not France. They're totally different from us, and France tactics works, and we're not going to use the tactics that France use. We'll just use the tactics that we think our players are capable of doing.
Question for both Coach Lorne and Peyton. You mentioned you're enjoying your time in Australia. You're currently training out in Bundoora. It's the home of the Matildas, but really it's the home of the Reggae Girlz. They used it for about a week after it opened, and then you moved in and you've had it longer than they did. Just how have you enjoyed using those facilities? Brand new. It's the largest ever investment in football-only facilities in this country has ever seen. How are you enjoying those facilities, and what advantages have you taken from them?
I tell you what, I mean, you said it's the home of the Reggae Girlz. I wish if we could take it back to Jamaica with us, because it's the most fantastic place in terms of training facility that I have ever seen in the world. And it's better than most men. I mean, big clubs, and it's not done yet. It's not complete, but we've enjoyed it. The staff has been excellent with us. The train, it has everything for us to train, and I just think it's a fantastic stuff to gift it to the Matildas. And you know what, I praise them for fighting for it, and we need something like that. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm incredibly thankful to be able to train there. From the recovery tools like the cold tubs, hot tubs, the weight room, the treadmills, the bikes, there's just endless amount of things available for players that are important for us when it comes to training and recovery.
Hi, Wade Brown, Irish from Jamaica, English. Coach first and then. Coach, the team played well without Bonnie Shaw, different formation, different tactics. Will this factor into how it's set up for Brazil? And Peyton, we stand on the verge of history at Jamaica. Any fear of nerves getting into the team for the game?
There is nerve, but I just think this is when you go enjoy it. I mean, what the hell we have to lose? More than just go out and just enjoy yourself and play. And with a player like Bonnie Shaw, she's going to pose problem for anybody. Okay, I mean, it's just one of those things that we're happy to have her back because we think she's a fantastic player, and obviously we can use her in certain areas that we didn't do against Panama and try to be effective. As I say, try to be effective. So it's got to be everybody. Everybody has to do their job. Bonnie Shaw is just one player, but she's a very, very good player.
Yeah, I think when it comes to nerves, I mean, we've all played this sport for so long that you just make it as simple as you can. You've played football before. Just go out there and play football.
Coach Tarek Handel from the New York Times. But for both of you, it's a broader question about the World Cup. Jamaica, the women have now been in 2 consecutive World Cups. Philippines were here, first time a Philippines team has been in any World Cup. Vietnam too. Just in terms of the platform this gives for people back home or people of whatever background, be it Vietnamese or Jamaican or Filipino, to be on the biggest stage. What does that mean for the communities overseas or at home? Can you give a sense of the occasion?
Yeah, I think, and you're talking about smaller football, women's football country. I think the growth has been tremendous, and you can see Morocco and some of these teams. You can see what Colombia, but the smaller countries now will realize that there's a platform out there, and I think young girls and young women all over the world in a smaller country, and they're looking in Africa what Nigeria has done, and everybody's looking at the smaller country. And I think all these governments and everybody, it's time to step up, cut the bull crap, step up and support women's football, and let's move along.
And I can speak from personal experience. Obviously, I wasn't at the last World Cup, and it was Jamaica's first time making it. And I think seeing them play on that level and that platform inspired me to be like, hey, I can get there one day. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, and now look where I am.